biking journey started on March 2018, and my goal was to make it all the way to Quito, Ecuador. I had to overcome many obstacles to make it to my destination, such as traveling across borders, areas with no bike routes, and across water. Luckily, I had a seemingly endless amount of money, and many people helped me along the way. First, I started off at Erickson Middle School and immediately headed south, so I didn't waste a minute of sunlight, which I realized later that I didn't need at all. On this first day, I only traveled 115 miles down to Waco, Texas. And over the next travel day, I visited Juiceland so I could get a supply of juice for the rest of my trip. Over the next week, I made my way through Texas while also taking breaks and eventually got to the coast of Corpus Christi so I could study the tides.
Yo, it's your boy Chips Ahoy, and today I'm going to be teaching you about what causes tides, because that is a very important question, and Praketh He-Manth just talked about it. So, I'll be explaining it, and tides are caused by the moon, the sun, and kind of the earth, okay? Because the moon just goes like woo around the earth, like in a circle, and that moves the water, it pulls the water with it, and it makes sort of like a bump or an oval shape around the earth, because the earth also moves due to the moon's gravity, and it makes like a hump on both sides, which causes the tides. And if you think of it like an oval shape, the moon's pulling or stretching the water into like an oval, and the moon's pulling the oval, and the high parts of the oval are the high tides, and the low parts of the sides of the oval are the low tides. Wow, very cool. And the sun is also included in this because spring tides are like super strong high tides or super low tides due to the sun like affecting the moon's gravity and also helping it. And these tides occur during the new moon and the full moon phases. And they have higher high tides and lower low tides. Neap tides, on the other hand, are like the exact opposite, except that the moon is in a 90-degree angle from the sun, so like a third quarter, first quarter moon. And these tides have lower high tides and higher low tides. Wow, very weird and quirky. This relationship causes there to be 2 high tides and 2 low tides per region usually, which is very cool.
I stayed here for about a week and learned a lot about the tides and its relationship with the moon. I also learned about the cause of tides and the different types of them. After this, I eventually crossed the border into Mexico, but I had to wait a couple days along the border because of the passport issues that I had. As I made my way through Mexico, I took several breaks, but I also visited many state parks in Mexico so I could study and get a better view of the many moon phases that I learned about.
Yo, what's popping, pizza topping? And did you hear that? Praketh He-Manth just talked about moon phases, and I know a lot about moon phases, so I'm going to teach you what causes moon phases. So, moon phases are caused by the revolution of the moon around the earth and the sun. And you see, because the earth rotates, or the moon revolves around the earth, and it's always lit up with this the side facing the sun with the light, and it's always different depending on where you're looking at it from the earth. Wow. And that causes the different moon phases, and the earth or the moon revolves around the earth counterclockwise in the same direction. It takes about 1 month to finish the entire thing. And there are also eclipses that occur when the sun, when the moon blocks out the sun, that's a solar eclipse, or the earth blocks out the sun from reaching the moon. Wow. There are many different moon phases, and there are 8 to be exact. So there's new moon, waxing crescent, first quarter, waxing gibbous, full moon, waning gibbous, third quarter, waning crescent, and then it's back to new moon. This process takes a month, as I said, and it's very cool. And waxing means growing, and waning means shrinking. Wow. And it usually starts from the right side of the moon going to the left. There are also many different celestial events that occur with the moon, such as blue moons, which is the second blue moon in any, or full moon in any month, and those are actually kind of rare. So, and there's the super moon, which is when the moon is super close to the Earth, and you can actually see it, and it looks pretty big. And yeah, we had one a couple months ago, which is pretty cool. And also, I'm going to be explaining solar eclipses more. So, like, solar eclipses, there's either a total or like a penumbral solar eclipse. And a total one is when the sun or the moon completely blocks out the sun. And a penumbral solar eclipse is when it partially blocks out the sun. You can like see like it looks like someone like bit out the thing with a cookie, and it looks really weird. And then lunar eclipses, yeah, they're red.
I learned lots of information about the relationship between the moon, the earth, and the sun by visiting these national parks. After about a week after studying the moon phases, I biked all the way down to Mexico City, where I visited a museum where I learned all about the day and night and the revolution and rotation of the earth.
Yo, 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 what's neat chocolate treat? And did you hear that? Praketh He-Man talked about day and night. Wow! And I know about day and night too, so I will explain it to you. Okay, the Earth's day and night is caused by the Earth's rotation on its axis that goes straight through the middle. And rotation is just like spinning in circles, but like not going around something, but like spinning on its axis, which goes straight through the middle. And the sun is only on one side, you see, but the sun is pointing its light and stuff towards the Earth. So only like one half of the Earth can be lit up at one time with light, and that's day. And the backside is night. So as the Earth rotates, the area being lit up by the sun also is like it stays in the light stays in the same place, but the area under it moves around, and that causes day and night in certain areas. And that's why some areas have like sunset before other areas. Wow.
This was very helpful along the rest of my trip. After visiting these museums in Mexico City, I then traveled down to a cruise port in Merida, Mexico, which took about 2 weeks because of the length. After I reached the cruise port in Merida, I then booked a 3-month cruise to Havana, Cuba. During this cruise, there was a change in seasons, which also led me to learn about the cause of the different seasons that occur.
Yo, 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 what's the deal, banana peel? And did you hear that? Praketh He-Man talked about the seasons, which I know about too. Well, the seasons are caused by the Earth's tilt, because it's not like perfectly standing straight on its axis. It's actually like a 23.5 degree tilt, and that causes the seasons because more areas, depending on which way it's tilted towards the sun, more areas get more daylight, and that's summer, and some areas get less daylight. That causes winter, and that's usually towards the north and the south of the Earth, like usually near the equator. That doesn't have seasons. That usually has like dry and wet seasons, not the 4 seasons that we're used to, which is very whack. There's also the summer solstice, which is when the sun is at its highest point, and the winter solstice, where the sun is at its lowest point in the sky. And those are in the summer and winter, obviously. Then there's the spring and autumn equinoxes, where then that marks the like the beginning and end of the seasons too, which is very cool. And oh yeah. So summer is pointed with more daylight towards the sun, and winter is pointed like on the other side. When summer's on one side, winter's on the other side. And that is because of the daylight amount. In the area with more daylight is summer, and the area with less daylight is winter. And that's why it feels like there's less daylight during winter. Well, actually, no, that's why there is less daylight in the winter and more daylight in the summer. Wow, very cool.
To get closer to my final destination, I had to book another cruise, which led me to travel to the Panama Canal. By traveling to the Panama Canal, I furthered my knowledge on the tides and their causes. Right after this cruise, I attempted to bike the rest of my way into South America, but I was faced with multiple issues, such as crossing the border. So then, I decided to take a 4-month cruise to Colombia. Over the course of this 4-month cruise all the way down to Colombia, I learned a lot about day and night, which helped me a lot further down in my journey. After finally reaching Colombia, my plan was to bike down to my final destination, which was Quito, Ecuador, but I encountered many problems that prevented this. My bike broke down about 100 miles away from my last leg of travel. I then had to wait and try to hitchhike a ride all the way down to Quito. This took about 40 days when I finally was able to get a ride. A kind man known as Keith Sanderson was able to give me a ride down to Quito. I then celebrated reaching my final destination in Ecuador by finishing all my juice from Juiceland. Overall, this trip took me a year and I learned a lot during this trip. Some of the things I learned were the causes of the tides, seasons, day and night, and also lunar phases. I hope to go on a similar trip soon in the near future.